Good morning. Happy Star Wars Day. Yes, I am wearing a Star Wars shirt. It is Darth Vader playing with cats. I mean, come on, hello. Uh, you'll notice I have also a change of scenery today. I'm in my son's room, actually, because it's nice and comfortable instead of sitting at my kitchen table every time. So today we start from Fibre to Fashion, which is Unit 2. So this week's work, what you're going to do is watch this video, like you're doing right now, and I will go through the notes for the unit. There's no pause and reflection bits for this note booklet, so you don't have that for your portfolio. Instead, for your portfolio work, you have a Jamboard. What's a Jamboard? It's a Google version of making like a digital poster. Normally in class, if we were there together, you would make a foldable, but for a digital version, we're making a Jamboard. And what it is taking a look at a particular garment. I'll have the instructions a little bit further down when we're doing our notes. You're going to think of a different garment. Could be a pair of jeans, a pair of leggings, or a dress shirt. You're going to then write the instructions on how to care for that garment when you're washing it. The thing is, we talked about laundry in clothing, but that was laundry basics. Now, with this unit being all about different kinds of fibers, you have to think about how do you take care of those fibers. So different things require different types of instructions on how to care for it, how to wash it, how to dry it, how to store it. So you're going to pick a particular garment, give a little bit of information about that garment, what it's made from, and then how to care for it. So that's part of the portfolio for this unit, instead of the different like pause and reflect moments from a notebooklet. So you're going to go through the notes, which I have the Google Slides attached to this post as well, so you can follow along with the video and with the notes. You'll make your digital poster with Google Jamboard. And then you're going to weave. I have the instructions there for you for that too. Weaving's a lot of fun, and all you need for weaving is a piece of cardboard, scissors, tape, and some yarn, and then either a safety pin or a tapestry needle. If you don't have a tapestry needle at home, it's perfectly all right. All you need to say is safety pin, or you could even tie your yarn to the end of a pencil. But we'll talk about that after our notes are done. Okay, so here we are, from Fibre to Fashion. Evaluation for this unit. Now, there's a thing here about lab reports. I haven't decided yet exactly what I'm going to do about that. So I'm going to put a pin in that for now. Normally we would do 3 lab reports with this unit. We'd go to the biolab and we do some really cool stuff, like looking at how it absorbs water, how it reacts when you set it on fire. Yes, we would have been doing that. Now, if you're at home and you say to your parents like, "Hey, Mom, I gotta set some fabric on fire for textiles." No, that's not what I'm saying. So, I don't know if we can do those experiments. We'll see what I can come up with that. We gotta get creative in this time, of course. You also have a project in this unit, which I will share with you next week, which is making a stuffed animal, and they're so cute. I'll share all the patterns with you, and if you are able, then you can make yourself a stuffed animal. Oh, that's one of my favorite projects because people get so creative and so fun with them. And then portfolio, which is would have been foldable, but now is going to be a digital poster, and your weaving. All right, so first thing here's brainstorm: natural versus synthetic. What's a natural fiber? What's a synthetic fiber? So natural fiber is any kind of fiber that is found in nature. And synthetic fibers are any kind of fiber that is made. We used to call it man-made, but people-made, not naturally found. So natural fibers are stuff like cotton. Cotton comes from a plant. Hemp, uh, flax, which helps you make linen, which we learned in our last unit, leather, silk, furs, any kind of fiber used to make fabric that is found in nature via plants or animals. Synthetic fibers, man-made, person-made, polyester, rayon, nylon, spandex, anything that is made in a factory setting. So natural fibers are made from natural sources and can be classified as cellulose fibers or protein fibers. So there's two categories. Remember I said about plants and animals? Cellulose are ones from plants. So they're called cellulose-based or cellulosic, cotton, linen, and hemp. Protein-based are ones from animals. So silk, wool. I didn't mention that a moment ago. Wool is a natural fiber, but it comes from an animal. Silk, wool, and then some people then would say that fur or leather, technically they're not a fiber, they're already a fabric, which is a little bit further on in the process. Okay. Synthetic fibers are fibers made from chemicals. Organic and non-organic products are classified as cellulosic or non-cellulosic. So under synthetic fibers, you can have a cellulosic and non-cellulosic as well. But you wouldn't have protein-based because protein-based are just strictly animals. So cellulosic, rayon, acetate, triacetate, and lyocell. Non-cellulosic are nylon, acrylic, and polyester. Remembering, of course, that a lot of those where there are chemical-based ones, you have chemicals used to make those products, some of those. And of course there's ones that have their origins in plastic. Remember I said before about polyester is based in plastic. That's why it doesn't break down. That's one of our concerns now with our environment, is the fact that we have so much from our textile world, our textile industry, that is really bad for the environment because it doesn't break down. Anything that is non-cellulosic, so it's not organic, chemical-based, does not break down. So it's stuck in our landfills. And where we have what's called fast fashion, where thousands of products are made day after day for our clothing, our accessories, there's nowhere for them to go. So it's something for you to start to think about with the environmental impact that you have on this planet, is what kind of products am I putting on my body? Are they natural? Are they synthetic? And if they are synthetic, are they cellulosic? Cellulosic cells, meaning that it still can break down, it still can be organic, it's just man-made. Because eventually they will break down so they have less of an impact on our environment. So think about those things. Okay, so the characteristics of different fibers. I have there's like turn to page 162 in your textbook. Obviously you don't have your textbooks at home. And all of this is talking about different ways that certain fibers react. So, for example, a lot of natural fibers are more repellent to water than synthetic fibers are, meaning they repel water. Why? Well, think about this for a second. A sheep lives out in nature, naturally. You know, they're a natural sheep. You know, yes, now we house them in barns and buildings, but before they were domesticated, they lived outside. Their fur, or rather their wool, their fleece, had to protect them from the weather. How did their fleece protect them from the weather? It repelled water. So where that naturally repels water, if you have a garment made of wool, it takes longer to absorb water. So that's a characteristic of a particular fiber. Right? Wool is also, it insulates. right? So it keeps you warm or keeps you cool if needed, right? So there's different characteristics of different fibers. Polyester, I keep referring to that one as well, but it's a good example of synthetic fiber. And it's in a lot. Polyester also does not absorb moisture very well. So it keeps that, it doesn't like get wet as easily. But one of those things, when you have a fabric that doesn't absorb water, it keeps, yes, water away from you, but it also keeps sweat on your skin because it doesn't absorb it. So if you're sweating a lot, it doesn't absorb that sweat and the sweat stays on your skin. And when sweat stays on your skin is when you have body odor. Interesting fact. Certain other fibers, say, burn easily or don't burn easily. Those are things that we would then discuss in our labs. And that activity we would have done if we were together, mystery fibers, I'd give you different kinds of fabrics. And you'd have to guess what it was based on its characteristics. So cotton, for example, is really easy to tear. Most cellulosic or cell-based natural fibers are easily torn. Cotton is one of them. So you could take it and you could just rip it apart very easily. When you look at protein-based natural fibers, so like silk, for example, what's really interesting with that, when you pull it apart, it looks like these little, almost like hairs, very thin. They cling to your skin, like when you're trying to pull it apart, they stick to your fingers. And it reminds a lot of people of spiders' webs. This is when you pull silk apart. And it's like, yeah, because that's what it is. Silk is made from silkworms and certain spiders. From their webbing, that's what it actually is. When people start to pull it apart, I find that in class and really realizing like that light bulb moment that this is coming from web, it seems kind of gross. Some people are just like, oh, I'm not wearing silk anymore. Oh, no. It's when you realize that that's exactly what silk is. It's woven together, bits of web. Anyway, care for your garment. Okay, so this is the thing for your portfolio for the Jamboard. Okay. Using information from page 162 to 167, we don't have that because we don't have our textbooks. So instead of using information from your textbook, what you're going to do is take a look for it online. Choose one of the following apparel items and create a foldable. Instead, you're going to create a Google Jamboard on how to care for it properly. Okay, so you'll choose either leggings, denim jeans, or a rayon dress shirt. Your, it says foldable, your Jamboard should include a description of the fiber or fabric that it is made of, how to wash it, how to dry it, how to store it. This says it should have color, so you can use color, put a couple pictures on the Jamboard as well. So leggings, you have to find out what they're made of. I put down contain spandex because they can contain spandex. So find out what they're made of to describe it. So what is a pair of leggings? What fiber is it made of? Same thing with denim. What is denim made of? What does it look like? What is it? Same with a rayon dress shirt. Now, rayon dress shirt, it's telling you specifically what fiber it is, so describe what rayon is. And then how do you care for something that is that product? How do you wash it? So that includes, like, do you hand wash it? Do you put it in the washer? What kind of setting do you put it on? What temperature do you wash it at? How do you dry it? So think, are you going to dry it in the dryer and at what setting? Are you going to hang it to dry? Do you lay it flat to dry? And then how do you store it? Do you hang it up? Do you fold it? Do you iron it? So how do you store it to keep it in good condition? Okay. Yarns. Okay, so yarns are used in fabric construction. So first we talked about fibers. Fibers is where it naturally occurs. So is it in nature or is it person-made? Those fibers are then turned into yarns, and then those yarns are turned into fabric. So yarns is used in fabric construction. Yarns are made using either staple, which is a word for short, or filament, which is used to describe long fibers. So short fibers are called staple fibers. Filament are long fibers. If the yarns are made using staple fibers, the fabric will have a fuzzy appearance, whereas filament fibers provide a smooth, more lustrous finish. So I use the example of flannel and silk. Flannel is made from cotton, and flannel has short fibers. If you look at it under a microscope, which we would have done doing our lab reports, it looks like all these little short, little fuzzies. Flannel is fuzzy and it's soft. So that has short staple fibers. Silk, which is smooth, it has a lustrous finish. Lustrous means it looks maybe slightly shiny. Has long filament fibers. So those fibers that you pull apart are very long. Same thing with satin. Long fibers. Anything that's short fibers will have a fuzzy, soft, cozy look to it. Wool products oftentimes have staple fibers as well. Filament long fibers will have a smooth, lustrous finish. Okay, so there's 5 types of yarns. There's spun yarns, which are staple fibers that are twisted together to make a long thread. Several of these threads will be twisted together to make a ply. So again, talking about flannel, short fibers of cotton are twisted together and they make long threads. Those threads are then twisted together again to make a ply. And then all of these plies are woven together to make your sheets, flannel sheets, your flannel jammies. A filament are long fibers that are twisted together to make a ply. So in your silk, you have your filaments, which are then twisted together. They make a ply, and then we weave them together to make your fabrics like silk or satin. And we have blendage, 2 or more different fiber sources used to make a thread, then a ply. So in spandex, where you have cotton, in leggings where you have cotton and spandex put together, cotton has spun fibers, which are short, just the short staple fibers, and the spandex are filament fibers. So that's a blend. So you have a spun and a filament put together, cotton and spandex put together, and then woven to make your leggings. Textured, our filament fibers undergo a process to add crimps, coils, or loops before being made into a ply. So if you looked at synthetic satin under a microscope, which we would have done in class, in our labs, you would see that the fibers are crinkly. So they are textured, and it is crimped to make it, instead of flat and smooth, that crimping helps give you the shine on one side and the dull side on the other. And then a ply is yarns used to make 2 or more plies. They're put together and they're woven together to make your fabric. You could also have different kinds of finishes. Now, using the satin as an example, again, synthetic satin could be, you have a finish put on it to make it look shiny on one side. Okay, so we'll get to that. So texture finishes improve the surface texture to make it more comfortable and durable. You could have something that's called calendaring. Calendaring is when fabric passes between 2 heated rollers that smooth the fabric and improve the luster. So, satin is very shiny. Silk is very shiny. But those fabrics are put through 2 heated rollers to make them shiny. Now, why would heat make them shiny? What's polyester made out of? Plastic. What does plastic do when you heat it up? It starts to melt. So that slight melting of the surface makes it shiny. We have napping. Napping is rotating wired brushes used to raise the short fiber ends of staple yarns to create a soft, fuzzy surface. So, flannel, the cotton fibers, are already short and they're a little bit fuzzy. To make it really, really fuzzy, they're then put through a napping process, which these wire brushes, so the cotton will then go through between these wire brushes and it's going to pull at those short little fibers to make them all stick off. And that's what makes it fuzzy. Really, really fuzzy. It's naturally a little bit fuzzy, but to make flannel, you want to make it extra fuzzy. And then we also have sizing. Sizing means there's starches or resins that are added to the fabric for extra body. Sizing is usually only a temporary finish. So that happens in dress shirts mostly. Now, this one doesn't have it. You'll notice how this collar just flops to the side, right? The shirt that I'm wearing. This one hasn't undergone sizing. But your fancy dress shirts that you would wear to prom, for example, the collar has sizing done. There's a resin added or a starch to make that collar stiff so it stands up. The more you wash it, the more that starch and that resin will come out and it won't be as stiff and nice of a collar anymore. That's why at grocery stores and craft stores and different things, you can buy spray starch, and people will starch collars of shirts when they wash them and then dry them and iron them so that they can have that nice hard stiff collar again. So you'd spray the starch on it when you go to iron it to give that structure back to the collar. Then we also have what's called performance finishes. Performance finishes help your garment have different capabilities. So water resistance or flame, for something to be, say, flame retardant. So you can have what's called proof or resistance. Proof is a finish that provides complete protection. Resistance finish provides partial protection. So some examples, you could have something that is crease or wrinkle resistant. So it has a finish applied to it so that it doesn't wrinkle as easily. So you don't have to iron it. A lot of synthetic fibers are wrinkle resistant. Stain or spot resistant. You can get clothing now, most clothing now is considered, especially kids' clothing, has a finish on it to be stain resistant. Because of course kids get into big old messes, don't I know it? And you don't want their clothing to be completely ruined from just wearing it once, from getting spaghetti sauce on it, or paint, or chocolate. So you can get something that is resistant to those stains. You can get water resistant or waterproof. So our raincoats, our parkas for winter are either water resistant or waterproof. There are people who say that even though a garment can say that it's waterproof, nothing is truly waterproof. At some point it will fail. And then durable press or permanent press, which means that it is washed and dried by machine and will need little to no ironing. Fabric will resist wrinkling during wear. So you can have something that's wrinkle resistant, but something that is what's called permanent press, which you'll see that on tags sometimes, means that it always looks like it's been ironed. All of these finishes are synthetic. So they're put together, put onto fabrics in a synthetic manner and are chemical based. So if you're a person who's found that you've worn a particular garment and then you have a reaction to it, say that it makes you itchy or it gives you a rash or makes you feel uncomfortable, usually it's the finish. It's not the fiber itself. Some people have a wool allergy. I have an allergy to acrylic wool. It gives me a rash if I wear something out of acrylic wool. But most of our allergies or reactions, there's skin-based like rash type of reactions or itchiness, is from the finishes, not the fiber itself. Those chemicals that are added is what we're having the reaction to, not the actual fabric. So that's all the notes. I also give you the instructions for the Jamboard. So you'll see on the Jamboard what I have put on it is little post-it notes for each of the headings. You'll click on the post-it note. You'll put in the information that you find. You can easily find it online. Easy peasy. The description of the garment. Then you have to figure out, just like, well, based on what the garment is, how do I wash it? Based on how the garment is, how do I dry it? And how do I store it? So you're having to apply your knowledge of the fiber so that you know how to properly take care of it. So if something's made of cotton, for example, cotton shrinks really easily. So if cotton shrinks really easily, are you going to wash it in hot water or are you going to wash it in cold water? Same thing with drying it. Are you going to dry it in the dryer or are you going to lay it out to dry or put it on a line? That's what we mean by how do you take care of it. Based on what a garment is made from, how do you take care of it? Are you going to throw it in the washer and throw everything in on hot and throw everything in the dryer? You're probably going to have something shrink. A lot of people learn that lesson who have the old Pioneers hoodies. So our people in grade 12 and possibly grade 11? No, just grade 12s. The old ones. Like the one that I have, Pioneers, that's embroidered. So many people shrunk them because there's a high cotton content. So take a look to make sure that you take care of something properly, because you wouldn't want it to shrink or to fade or to have pilling occur. Okay, so this week's work, there it is, the notes, which we just did. Do your Jamboard, and I have the instructions for weaving. Because most fabrics, a lot of fabrics are woven. I have fabrics that are either woven or knit or put together in a different way, like fur or leather. So you're teaching you how to weave. All the instructions are in the document that's attached to this post, Weaving on a Cardboard Loom. You're going to make yourself a little woven fabric. And it's going to look really cute. You'll like it a lot. I like it a lot. When you are weaving, what happens is you're going under and over, under, over, under, over your pieces of yarn. And the yarn that you're pulling through, if you have a tapestry needle, if you have that threaded, it makes it really easy. Or if you tie it to the end of a safety pin, you're going to want to have something to pull your yarn through. If you're just pulling the yarn through on your own, it's going to make you really frustrated because it's more difficult. So make sure you have some kind of small stiff object to use to pull it through. So either a tapestry needle or a safety pin is best. And you are able to pull it through under, over, under, over, under, over, all the way across. Then going back is over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And then you push it down. When you push it down, you make it really tight. What I'm going to do is I don't have the time to make an instructional video right now. All I have is the instructions. Later on this week, I'll probably be able to post an instructional video if you're having difficulty with the written out instructions. Okay? So there it is. You're making your little Jamboard. You can weave. And then next week, I will post the instructions for making a stuffed animal. Yay! I hope you're well. Take care of yourself. Your physical and mental health is very, very important. So get outside, exercise, do things for self-care, like take a bath, read a book, make something, be creative. Making things is actually really important during this time. I've been making a lot of things to keep myself busy. It's important to do that. That creative outlet helps you feel good. Okay? So make some things and share it with me, please. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.